How to live on 24 hours a day. A modern summary. Narrator. Imagine waking up each morning to find your wallet miraculously filled with 24 hours of time. No one gets more, no one gets less. This daily allotment is yours to spend. But are you spending it well? Over a century ago, writer Arnold Bennett posed this very question in his classic book, How to Live on 24 Hours a Day, published 1908. Bennett's core message is simple yet profound. Time is our most precious resource, far more valuable than money, and learning to use it wisely is the key to a fulfilling life. This summary modernizes Bennett's key ideas, translating his early 20th century wisdom into practical tips for today's fast-paced world. The daily miracle of time. Bennett begins by marveling at the daily miracle of time. Every day, without fail, we are each given a fresh 24 hours. The unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. It is yours. It is the most precious of possessions. Unlike money, time is gifted equally to paupers and millionaires alike. No one can steal it, and you can't buy even one extra minute. Realizing this truth is the first step to living deliberately. Yet how often do we catch ourselves saying, "I wish I had more time"? Bennett's response is blunt. We shall never have more time. We have and have always had all the time there is. In other words, you already have the time you need, all 24 hours of it every single day. The challenge is not getting more time, but using time more effectively. Practical takeaway. Start viewing time as a finite daily treasure. Recognize that each day's 24 hours is a gift, and it's up to you, and no one else, to spend those hours on what truly matters. This mindset shift, treating time as your most valuable currency, lays the foundation for the changes that follow. Rethinking your day. It's not just 9 to 5. Many of us unconsciously organize life around our work or obligations. Bennett noticed that people often consider their work hours, say 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 in his era, as the day, and everything outside of work as mere padding. This mindset leads us to write off our mornings and evenings as unimportant, inevitably wasted on low-value activities. Bennett calls this attitude utterly illogical and unhealthy. After all, why treat the 8 or so hours before and after work as a meaningless prologue and epilogue to your life? Those hours are your life just as much as your workday is. Narrator. Picture this. You finish work tired and plop down for an evening of relaxation. An hour disappears on the couch. You mindlessly scroll your phone or flip channels, maybe meet a friend online, putter around, and suddenly it's bedtime. Sound familiar? Bennett observed the same pattern over 108 years ago. People ending their day in a haze of semi-fatigued diversion. We claim to have no time for our passions or self-improvement, yet somehow we find hours to lose in these aimless routines. The solution? Reclaim those lost hours by seeing them as your second day. Bennett provocatively suggests treating your non-work time, for example 6 p.m. to 10 a.m., as another full day, a day within a day. In this personal second day, you're the boss. After allocating, say, 8 hours for sleep, you still have significant free time to invest in yourself each evening and morning. Realizing this fact immediately creates opportunity. Even a busy person can find 7+ extra hours a week, an hour or more each day, for personal growth once they stop considering those hours as mere leftovers. Practical takeaway. Conduct an honest audit of your weekly schedule. Identify the gaps, those morning moments and evening stretches that you typically waste or overlook. You'll likely discover pockets of time, 30 minutes here, 1 to 2 hours there, that can be redeemed each day. Stop thinking of your off-work hours as nothing time. They are potentially your most important time. Once you see their value, you can begin to make them count. Carving out time for self-improvement. Okay, so you've recognized you do have some free hours. What now? Bennett's next advice is to deliberately carve out specific blocks of time for purposeful activity. You won't magically find free time. You must make it and schedule it as if it were as important as a work meeting. Bennett suggests starting small and consistent. For example, get up 30 minutes earlier in the morning. The morning is when your mind is fresh. Instead of dozing until the last second or scrolling through your phone, use that half hour for something enriching. Bennett himself used his morning train commute for reading and reflection. He strongly warns against wasting early morning solitude on things meant to be read with rapidity. In his day, the newspaper. Today, it's the endless feeds of Twitter or TikTok. Don't squander your freshest mental energy on ephemeral news or social media. Use it to strengthen your mind. You might read a chapter of a book, ponder a favorite quote, practice meditation or journaling. Anything that engages you deeply. This simple habit yields 2.5 extra hours per week, 30 minutes times 5 weekdays, devoted to your growth. Reorganize your evening routine. Upon returning from work, resist the temptation to collapse into inertia. Bennett advises having dinner immediately when you get home, rather than letting dinner be a late interruption in an otherwise aimless evening. Once fed, set aside 90 minutes in the evening. He suggests 3 evenings a week to start, dedicated to bettering oneself. This could be from, say, 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., a period you treat as an appointment with yourself. In Bennett's plan, this yields about 4.5 hours per week of evening study or practice, 1.5 hours times 3 nights, leaving plenty of other nights and the full weekend for rest or social activities. Even if you reserve just 3 evenings like this, you'll still have 2 weeknights and all of Saturday and Sunday free for leisure. You're not becoming a hermit, but those focused 4.5 hours will become the engine of your personal progress. Combining the morning and evening adjustments, you've now found roughly 7 to 8 hours every week for your self-chosen pursuits. That's like an entire extra workday given back to you, except now you are working on your own goals. Bennett promises that dedicating these hours to purposeful activity will 16. Quicken the whole life of the week, add zest to it, and increase the interest you feel in even the most banal occupations. In other words, when you spend part of your day on things that genuinely excite and fulfill you, even your regular job and chores won't feel so dull. Life as a whole becomes more vivid and satisfying. Practical takeaway. Schedule your personal time just as you schedule work or appointments. Decide on specific slots for morning and evening activities and stick to them. It could be as modest as 15 to 30 minutes early each day and an hour after dinner a few times a week. Protect these slots as non-negotiable. Use a calendar or alarms if needed. Treat this as an appointment with your future self, because it truly is. Over time, these small daily and weekly investments compound into significant growth. Invest your time in what matters and what interests you. So, how should you use those precious 7+ hours? Bennett's answer, surprisingly, is do not rigidly prescribe one right activity. Pursue something that genuinely fascinates you. The goal is to engage your mind in continuous learning or creative effort, not to slog through a dull task just because you think you should. Bennett gives examples from his era: reading great literature, studying history, learning a new language, appreciating art or music. In today's terms, the possibilities are endless. You could learn to code, pick up a musical instrument, take an online course in astronomy, write a blog, study philosophy or psychology, whatever makes you feel excited and enriched. The only rule is that you must have a supreme interest in your chosen subject. Don't decide to read War and Peace or take up abstract math just because it seems virtuous. Do it because something in it genuinely calls to you. This intrinsic interest is critical because it fuels your motivation on those days when inertia or temptation to slack off inevitably hit. Remember, Bennett wrote for people who often did not love their day jobs. That's why it was so important to cultivate passions outside work. Today, whether or not you enjoy your job, having an unrelated personal passion gives you a sense of control and growth. It turns your free time into truly rich time. Bennett also emphasizes the importance of training your attention and mind during these pursuits. One of his most forward-thinking suggestions is to practice concentration as a daily exercise. For example, on your morning walk or commute, pick a subject or inspiring passage and focus your mind on it single-mindedly. The moment your thoughts stray, and they will within seconds, notice and bring your mind back to the subject. Bennett assures readers that if you keep at this routine, continually dragging your wandering mind back by the scruff of the neck, you will improve. It's a century-old description of what we now recognize as mindfulness or meditation practice. Developing this mental discipline pays off in everything you do. As Bennett says, mind control is the first element of a full existence. When you can concentrate at will, you can learn faster, resist distractions, and truly savor whatever you are doing in the moment. Practical takeaway: choose personal projects or studies that excite you. Something you can't wait to dive into, rather than something you feel obliged to do. This could be a hobby, a skill, or a subject you've always been curious about. At the same time, build your mental muscle. Practice focusing on one thing at a time. For instance, while reading or learning, put your phone away and give that activity your full attention for a set time. If you're commuting or walking, use that time to reflect on a single idea or observe your surroundings deeply, instead of letting your mind drift aimlessly. These habits of attention will make your learning time far more effective and rewarding. Start small, consistency over quantity. One of Bennett's most repeated pieces of advice is to start with modest, achievable commitments and be patient with yourself. Beware of undertaking too much at the start. Be content with quite a little, he writes. It's tempting to get overambitious, to pledge you'll read for 3 hours every night and completely overhaul your life overnight. That approach usually leads to burnout or quick disappointment. Bennett instead suggests making a small change and sticking to it. Even if your initial efforts seem almost trivial, it's the habit that matters. Consistency beats grand plans. As modern habit research echoes, doing 30 minutes daily will outrun a sporadic weekend marathon of effort. Importantly, Bennett warns that if you embark on this self-improvement journey, some sacrifice and an immense deal of willpower will be necessary. You can't expect to add 7 hours of productive work to your week and live exactly as you did before. Something's got to give, perhaps less TV or later responding to non-urgent messages. Accept that reality up front, but also accept that progress may feel slow. In Bennett's words, if you will not be content with a small result for a big effort, then do not begin. Real growth takes time. You might see little change in the first few months, but after 6 months or more, the results will compound and you'll wonder why you ever doubted the process. On the flip side, remain flexible and humane with yourself. This isn't meant to be a joyless grind. If you slip up or life interferes with your schedule occasionally, don't quit. Just restart the next day. And definitely keep your sense of humor. Bennett specifically cautions against turning into what he calls a prig, a pompous, self-righteous person who looks down on others for not using their time as efficiently. This journey is about improving yourself, not judging anyone else. Be strict with yourself and tolerant with others, as the saying goes. Enjoy your growth, but stay humble and balanced. Practical takeaway: set realistic goals for your new routine, ones you can stick with even on a busy day. It's better to consistently spend 30 minutes learning each day than to do 2 hours but quit after a week. Gradually, you can increase the time if you want. Expect challenges. You'll have days you're tired or unmotivated. Plan for how you'll push through. Even doing just 10 minutes is better than nothing on a hard day. If you miss a session, don't beat yourself up. Just pick it up again tomorrow. Remember, the aim is lasting change. Keep it flexible enough to adapt to real life, and don't lose your joy in the process. Just begin. Today, not someday. After all his detailed suggestions, Arnold Bennett closes with an urgent call to action. Start now. Don't wait for a perfect time or until you feel completely ready. Stop telling yourself you'll begin that novel or enroll in that class when I have more time, because you now know that more time will never magically appear. If you're wondering how to take the first step, Bennett's answer is simply, just begin. It's like jumping into a cold bath. The only way is to jump. Narrator. Conclusion. You have 24 hours at your disposal today, and you'll have another 24 tomorrow. The quality of your life is determined by how you spend those hours. So take charge of them. Start small, but start today. Perhaps with a half-hour earlier wake-up tomorrow, or an hour tonight with the TV off and a book or notebook in hand. Over time, these little investments will transform your days. As Bennett brightly reminds us, you can turn over a new leaf every hour if you choose. Every hour is a chance to begin living more fully. So, how will you spend your next one? The choice and the time is entirely yours.